June 11, 2026. To anyone living in central Illinois or northwest Indiana, this date will forever be etched in memory as the day nature unleashed its ultimate fury. It didn't start with a sudden explosion. It started with an unsettling, suffocating silence. The air was thick, heavy with humidity, and the atmosphere was a ticking time bomb, waiting for a single spark. What occurred over the span of just 6 hours was not a random stroke of bad weather. It was a calculated multi-cell assault, a parade of monstrous supercells that marched across state lines, dropping multiple confirmed, violent tornadoes through rural farmsteads and heavily populated suburban neighborhoods alike. From the quiet agricultural heart of Washburn to the bustling streets of Streator, and across into the dense corridors of Merrillville and Hobart, Indiana, this is the definitive, minute-by-minute account of the June 11th catastrophic tornado outbreak. The first major alarm of the afternoon shattered the peace of Marshall County, Illinois. Around 5 p.m. local time, the atmosphere finally ruptured. Near the small, close-knit community of Washburn, located just 7 miles east of Chillicothe, the sky literally seemed to touch the ground. On the ground, trained weather spotters, men and women who risked their lives to provide early warnings, witnessed a nightmare materializing before their eyes. A large, rain-wrapped tornado had touched down. It wasn't just a weak funnel. It was a violent system that immediately began tearing through the flat terrain, gaining strength with every single rotation. At the National Weather Service office in Lincoln, Illinois, the atmosphere inside the room was electric with tension. Meteorologists weren't just looking accessorily at wind rotation anymore. Their Doppler screens lit up with a terrifying technical phenomenon, a distinct debris ball signature. A debris ball on radar means the storm is no longer just spinning air or rain. The radar beam is hitting solid objects, shredded roofs, pulverized brick, uprooted trees, and shattered vehicles, lofting them thousands of feet into the atmosphere. It is the definitive, undeniable proof of a devastating tornado on the ground. The tornado was charting a path northeast at a relentless 45 miles per hour. At this speed, residents had mere minutes, sometimes seconds, to react. Recognizing the extreme peril, the National Weather Service made the rarest and most urgent declaration in their arsenal. They issued a tornado emergency for La Rose, Toluca, and Winona. The language used by forecasters was stripped of all clinical politeness. It was a desperate plea for survival. Catastrophic damage is occurring. This is a life-threatening situation. The direct path of the storm targeted the towns of Varna and Winona. For nearly 60 agonizing minutes, this emergency status held firm as the monster tore up the landscape, leaving behind a scarred earth before finally being downgraded, though the broader region remained under a particularly dangerous situation tag well into the evening. But the Washburn storm was just the opening act of a much larger, coordinated atmospheric war. As that initial supercell tracked northeast, the unstable air mass behind it began spawning sister storms. By late Thursday night, more than 10 separate, confirmed tornado reports would be logged in Illinois alone. The small, quiet communities of Ransom, Low Point, Ancona, and Rutland found themselves directly in the crosshairs. These are places defined by their vast fields, iconic grain elevators, and historic farmsteads. Here, there are no tall skyscrapers or concrete jungles to break the wind. The tornadoes rushed over the flat, open ground with unimpeded, raw velocity, slamming into homes with the full force of nature's wrath. Further south and west, another distinct threat was evolving near Ipava and Lewistown. Spotters tracked a secondary tornado that took on a completely different, yet equally mesmerizing form, a roping tornado. In weather terminology, a rope stage usually signifies that a tornado is beginning to lose its core energy, stretching out and weakening as its inflow is cut off. But do not be fooled by its narrow appearance. Even during this dying phase, a roping tornado acts like a spinning ice skater drawing their arms inward. Its rotational speed can actually intensify dramatically over a very narrow path, making it capable of intense, unpredictable destruction just before it vanishes from sight. While rural fields bore the brunt of the early storms, the outbreak was searching for a vulnerable urban target. It found it in Streator, Illinois, a vibrant city of roughly 12,000 residents located about 80 miles southwest of Chicago. On the evening of June 11th, Streator would become the epicenter of the night's structural devastation. It's right on top of us. The roof is tearing off. Get down, get down. Oh my God, the trees are snapping. Streator suffered what emergency officials called a direct, catastrophic hit within its city limits. This wasn't a glancing blow. The core of a powerful tornado plowed directly through residential neighborhoods. 3 separate reports of touchdowns were filed in the immediate vicinity within a short window of time. The destruction was instantaneous, violent, and absolute. In the immediate aftermath, before the dust could even settle, heroic scenes played out on the ruined streets. Footage captured police officers and neighbors working side by side, frantically clawing through the wreckage of a completely collapsed home. A man was trapped beneath the heavy structural timber of what used to be his living room. Through sheer determination and collective strength, rescuers managed to pull him out alive from the debris, a miracle amidst the ruins. Several additional homes in Streator sustained severe, unresolvable structural damage, leaving entire blocks unrecognizable. To handle the immediate human crisis, local authorities established a makeshift family reunification center at Streator City Hall. It quickly became a sanctuary for the displaced, a place where shell-shocked residents could find warmth, food, and desperately try to locate loved ones in an environment where cellular networks were completely knocked out. But the danger wasn't over when the clouds moved away. The city was a minefield. First responders had to navigate a hazardous maze of ruptured, hissing gas lines and live, sparking high-voltage power infrastructure. Every single spark carried the potential for a secondary disaster, forcing utility crews to work through the night to secure the shattered neighborhoods. As the sun began to set, the severe weather setup did not exhaust itself. Instead, the line of supercells crossed the state border into northwest Indiana, feeding on the lingering heat and moisture of the day. If anything, the storms became even more organized and dangerous as they entered some of the most densely populated suburban communities in the region. Just past 7 p.m., the alarms began to wail in Lake County, Indiana. A large, violent tornado materialized near the Merrillville and Hobart areas. This wasn't open farmland anymore. This was a grid of busy highways, strip malls, schools, and packed residential subdivisions. At 7:35 p.m., the National Weather Service confirmed a large and extremely dangerous tornado was directly over Hobart, tracking northeast at 30 miles per hour. The projected path read like a directory of the region's major suburbs: Merrillville, Sherville, Crown Point, Griffith, Dyer, and St. John. Hundreds of thousands of people received emergency alerts simultaneously on their phones, forcing families away from dinner tables and straight into basements or interior bathrooms. Further east in Porter County, the devastation intensified. In the town of Hebron, trained spotters watched in horror as the tornadic supercell plowed through, heavily damaging and completely destroying multiple homes according to local reports. The storm system spared absolutely no one, stretching from the tranquil shores of the Indiana dunes on Lake Michigan down through the southern agricultural plains. Near Winata, another large, dangerous funnel was tracked at approximately 7:20 p.m., moving east at 35 miles per hour. The sheer geographical footprint of the outbreak was staggering. The storm system left a continuous, hundreds of miles long scar across 2 states, proving that when the atmospheric ingredients are perfectly aligned, no border can contain their destructive force. When the sun rose on the morning of June 12th, it revealed a landscape changed forever. Miles of downed power poles, fields littered with household insulation, and families standing on bare concrete foundations where their homes had stood just 12 hours prior. Yet, before the first damage assessment teams could even arrive, something else began to happen. The very communities that had been terrorized by the darkness showed their true strength in the light. Neighbors who had never spoken before were now sharing tools, clearing roads, and offering shelter. The June 11th outbreak proved the absolute, terrifying power of nature. But the days that followed proved something far more enduring: the unbreakable, resilient spirit of the people of Illinois and Indiana. Our thoughts are with everyone recovering from this historic event. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and we will see you in the next video.